The Heroes and the Hidden by Kitty Quat on AO3. Episode 42. Chapter 36. And If I Need a Rhythm. He felt tiny compared to the massive door and bright fluorescent lights of the school. He could hear talking from inside each of the classrooms they passed, classes currently in session. How would it feel to sit in one of those classrooms? To be a hero in training? Work to save lives? Work to help those who went unnoticed? He grabbed Hitoshi's hand, turning to look at his friend. His gaze was filled with determination and pride, purple eyes lighting up as he grinned at Izuku. We did it. He signed quickly. Izuku nodded in return, squeezing his hand for comfort. They were going to become heroes. As you could see, our school is a top-of-the-line. Utilities and curriculum are shaped to fit our up and upcoming heroes. Many of the ones in the top 10 come from our school. Nezu recited, clapping his paws. He walked briskly for such a small creature, his footsteps silent as a mouse on a tile. It made Izuku mad that for such a prestigious school, Nezu kept the only elevator for accessibility hidden, though the door was cool. What are we doing? Izuku asked as they turned down another hallway. This building was like a maze, with twists and turns throughout. Izuku assumed it was in case someone who wasn't a student got in, but it still seemed excessive. Nezu seemed to ignore the question as he led them down another tunnel, out into the open air and through another building. It must have been placed behind covers because Izuku hadn't noticed another building, save for the training gym. The principal finally stopped, turning to face the boys in front of the door of the classroom. No inscription was written on it, unlike the other classes. This is where we will begin your week on Monday, our support classrooms. Izuku stared at the door with a newfound fascination. He had studied support gear over the years of analyzing heroes. Most needed it to make their quirks stronger, though some had only for extra weaponry, like Eraserhead's scarf. Hitoshi tightened his grip on Izuku's hand, pushing his shoulders into him. He lifted his other hand to sign something, before the door shot outwards, barely passing by their heads. Despite the speed at which the door was taken off its hinges, there was no real bang. May, again? A young voice asked, the person stepping outside. Oh, Nezu. Nice to see you again. May's been... He used trying to think of the right word. Experimental again? Nezu nodded as if he understood perfectly, gesturing to the two boys, who stood in shock. These are my personal students. I was wondering if May would like to meet them. Izuku waved his hand in a small nod as Hitoshi pushed in front of him, blocking him from view. Izuku stared at the man from over Hitoshi's shoulder in awe. Power loader! You've rescued more from Destruction Zone than most anyone else. Your quirk allows you to dig through any material, even concrete and brick. He keeps rambling, slowly getting quieter as he gets deeper in thought. His quirk was similar to Izuku's curse, that he was curious. Curious if he had ever hurt someone with his fingers. Power Loader frowned, crossing his arms. Aren't you sure they could handle May? They look a little unprepared for her level. As he spoke, a young girl around their age peeked her head around the corner. Her bright pink hair fell over her face as she grinned. Her yellow eyes pierced into the boys, pupils twisting as she stared at them. Her eyes were the same color as Toga's. Hitoshi's hand tightened on his as he pushed Izuku a step back. Lovely to see you again, young May. Are you feeling at home here yet? Nezu grinned, reaching his hand out to block May as she ran up for a hug. Not today, dear. May frowned, stepping back uncomfortably. She tapped her hands against her leg before turning back to Hitoshi and Izuku. a wide grin spreading across her face. "Are you here to help me make babies?" She screeched, bouncing up to them and grabbing Hitoshi's hand tightly. Hitoshi instinctively ripped his hand back, pulling his hands on her chest and shoving her away from him as hard as he could. "Ow!" she said, hitting the floor. Hitoshi shriveled, taking a step back as he watched her frown. Staring at her hands, Izuku stepped out from behind him, slowly, crouching down next to the girl. He was supposed to comfort people as a hero, right? He could feel the staff members watching him as he looked at the girl, who seemed confused. "We need a lot of space. Please," he said slowly, trying not to touch her either. He had just gotten used to his 3 guardians touching him. He didn't want someone else. She flapped her hands in a shaking motion, staring up at him, before grinning widely. She grabbed his hand quickly, ignoring what he had just said. "My name is May. What's yours?" She pulled them to her feet, hands right on Izuku's wrists. He froze up, his muscles refusing to listen. His hands were calloused and cut. They were smaller than Tomura's, but they felt so similar. Too similar. He didn't like the feeling. Her eyes were the color of Toga's, the color of Kurigiri's, or the color of danger. May yelped as Power Loader hauled her up on his small frame, forcing her to let go of Izuku's wrist. She frowned as she was carried away and into the classroom, out of sight of Izuku. He was going to get trapped again. He could feel the sharp knife cutting down his skin. Could feel the cold that made up Kurigiri's body as the man watched him writhe in pain. He could hear the walls shattering next to his head as Tomura kicked it. He could feel the baseball bat making contact with his knees, shattering the bone. Hitoshi touched Izuku's shoulder gently, with their calling taps. 2 quick taps with the ring finger, 1 tap with the ring finger, and 1 tap by the middle finger. Izuku relaxed instantly, leaning into Hitoshi. His warm body and soft clothes were all Izuku needed to breathe evenly again. Hitoshi gently removed his hand from his arm, where he had been suspiciously scratching. "You're okay, Izuku," he whispered, rubbing Izuku's hands gently. "I am so sorry for that meeting," Nezu said, though he didn't lose the smile on his face. "May can be a bit unresponsive when it comes to personal space. We're working to teach her boundaries, but it is taking some time." His words were muffled to Izuku, too quiet to be fully understood. All he could feel was Hitoshi's comfort behind him. Power Loader returned outside the classroom, bowing his head in an apology. "May would like to come to apologize now. Would that be okay?" he asked, looking at the boy shivering in fear. Hitoshi whispered the question to him, playing with Izuku's fingers. Izuku nods, hesitantly, closing his eyes, and trying the breathing exercises that Midnight taught him. 2 breaths in through the nose, 2 breaths out from the mouth. Feel the weight of your clothes. Feel the ground beneath your sneakers. Find a comfort. He opens his eyes and gives a small smile. One he hopes will convince the staff members that he's okay. He's normal. He can be a hero. He's stronger than a little touch. Power Nutter nods, hesitantly, stepping out of the way of the pink-haired girl. "I'm very sorry for not listening to your boundaries," she says slowly, looking at the floor, her hands tapping against her leg anxiously. "I have autism, and boundaries are hard." She looks up slowly, her pupils twisting again. Izuku takes a deep breath, trying to fight the instincts in him to run, to get as far away from the rough and cracked hands as fast as possible. Instead, he nods, smiling again. "Thank you. Please don't touch us again. We have anxiety." He repeats back the phrase Midnight told him, trying to pronounce it correctly. May nods, smiling once more. She races towards them, her braids bouncing with her movements. Powerloader goes to grab her, but Nezu simply raises a hand, watching. Mamie stops directly in front of them, reaching to touch them again before pausing as Hitoshi pulls them a step back. Right, she mumbles, lifting her hands to play with the necklace around her neck instead. I won't touch, she states firmly, hitting her heels against the ground hard. Izuku smiles slightly, tightening Hitoshi's grip around his back. What did you mean by babies? He asks softly, trying not to flinch as her face lights up and she reaches for their hands. Hitoshi hums loudly, making her nod again. Come, see! She calls instead, bouncing into the classroom. Izuku follows hesitantly. Hitoshi moves just to grab his hand instead. Izuku staggers back as he stares at the large, tired seating classroom. It was full of support students who seemed too distracted in their work to pay attention to anything happening. He could see all of them moving their heads to different beats as their hands fly across paper, machines, and computers, getting work done. He wanted to know what they were working on. May skips into the room, which, considering it's also missing a door, planting her feet firmly on the floor before turning around to face them. This is where I make my babies! She screams in delight, flapping her hands again widely. Currently, I'm working on a fusion blaster gauntlet. That, with the proper quirk power, will allow a hero to propel themselves up to at least the 5th floor of a building to get the jump on villains. Of course, it's still a work in progress, as I need. She rambles on more, pacing the floor as she counts her fingers quickly, putting each one down just to put it back up. Izuku nods along, his eyes widening as she murmurs louder and louder, just like he does. Hitoshi doesn't like it. She's too much, too loud, too bright. Why was she even given an office in the support course of UA at her age? And more concerning was the soot and burn marks that covered every inch of the wood in here. I thought we agreed no explosive materials until she was officially enrolled at UA, as more than just a ward. Nezu spoke, behind him, staring under Hitoshi's arms. Hitoshi stepped to the side to allow the principal in. His explanation of what he was did not satisfy Hitoshi's curiosity. He wanted to know why the principal was like that. Powerloader threw his hands up in surrender, sighing. I did not give her access to anything at all. The only key is still on me. I don't know where she got all that from. He gestures to the wide array of machines that coat the floor. No desk in sight. Nezu nods understandably, before stopping the girl's pacing and mumbling, standing in front of her. May, this is Izuku and Shinsou. They will be studying here at UA for the time being. They will be coming to visit every Monday and Wednesday. May nodded, seriously at the principal, fidgeting with her necklace. Her mouth still moved and mumbles, but Hitoshi could no longer hear it. Boys, Nezu said, getting both of their attentions. This is Mei Hatsume, a ward with UA, supervised by our very own Powerloader. I believe you will find her to be quite interesting, especially Izuku. Izuku nodded in concentration, biting down his lip. What are we doing the other days, sir? He asked, running his thumb along Hitoshi's hands. If I can ask. He quickly adds, his hands shaking. Nezu nods, gesturing for them to follow him out of the room. Powerloader waves goodbye, walking to the pile of machines, picking one up and examining it. May rushes over to him, chatting loudly. As Nezu leads them out of the support room, he is only mildly surprised when another explosion sounds behind them. Izuku shivers beside him, pushing into him for support at the sound. He wanted to get Izuku earplugs for loud noise. He wanted to protect his two friends. And he could only help one right now. The rest of the day ran smoothly, as Nezu continued with their tour. He showed them the training rooms again, which they would be utilizing every day except Monday and Wednesday after lunch. Tuesday they would be escaping and parkour skills with Class 1B. Thursday would be stretches and flexibility training with 1A. Friday would be for hand-to-hand combat by themselves. Hitoshi was nervous about meeting the hero classes. He wouldn't be able to do as well as them. They were a lot older and they had better skills. He couldn't compete with them, especially if he thought he was a villain because of his quirk. But Nezu reassured both boys that they would be spectacular and would be able to hold their own against their newly started teenagers. He didn't mention anything about how they would utilize his quirk, though. They would do personal studies with Nezu every morning, at his discretion. He mentioned that the detective would be coming in from time to time, making Izuku tighten his grip. Hitoshi frowned, trying to think why Izuku didn't like the detective now. He knew that Izuku had been asked questions, but Izuku was good at questions. He wouldn't hate the detective because of that. It didn't matter, though. If Izuku didn't like the detective anymore, neither did he. As the day drew to a close, Nezu gave them both papers for the Guardians, walking them to the door where President Mike was waiting, smiling widely. Students gathered around, pointing at the hero and whispering, making Hitoshi nervous. He didn't stop to greet the hero, instead quickening his speed and drawing Izuku along with him. He didn't like all the whispers and looks at them. He only stopped when they were outside the gates, by President Mike's and Eraserhead's shared pickup truck. Izuku rubbed his hands caringly, pushing into his shoulders. He hummed, laying his head on his friend's, watching President Mike catch up with them. They piled into the car quickly, strapping into their booster seats as the car cracked to life, and they pulled away from the school. Hitoshi couldn't help looking back. He was going to be a hero. Wow! For once, we have been getting a lot of non-angsty fics. I'm scared, guys. I'm scared. But it's okay. It's okay. We all good. We all Gucci. We all nice. We all funny. I don't have much to say. I'm gonna be dead ass with you. I'm like, yeah. Anyways, I don't have much to say. Oh, I do love that Mei has autism. I love that. I love when people give Mei like more personality and stuff like that, and I like to see where they take her character and shit. So her giving her autism and like the stems, it seems like she has like a lot of stems, like she has a hand stem. Funny enough, as I was, doing her lines, I would stem a little, and one of my stems happened to be hers. So when I then read the narration part of her stem in my head, I'm like, hold up, that's what I was doing. So like we're just interlocked. I'm just locked in is what I am. On a dimmer note, I'm gonna read, we're gonna have a moment where we point and laugh, okay? I'm gonna read you an email I got. A very interesting email I got. Hello, Echo Brainstorm. Greetings from the Redacted team. We've been following your YouTube content and we're impressed by the community you've built. We believe your style is a perfect match for our platform. What is Redacted? An immersive AI role-playing platform where users engage with characters via text, voice, and even live video. It's the next level of interactive storytelling. The project. Format: 130 to 60 integrated or standalone video. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Type: paid collaboration. Goal: long-term partnership, monthly deals, or custom AI avatars. Best regards, Redacted team. I'm so fucking offended. I'm also saying redacted because I'm not even gonna give them the small publicity that is saying their name. No. Just know that an AI chat box company messaged me this in my inbox, in my Gmail inbox. What? That's really me. Really? A podficker. A My Hero Academia. Podfickers are infamous for hating AI. We hate it. With people who read fandom and read AO3 and read fanfiction, we are infamous for absolutely hating the fuck out of AI. I am offended to the highest. I don't even make short video, like short content, short format content. Like, I don't make that type of content. I don't make YouTube shorts. I do TikTok. Don't get me wrong. I do TikTok. Maybe they got it from there, but I haven't done TikTok in like literal years. 3 years. My TikTok account is like dead. I don't have the time to run both my TikTok and my YouTube, right? I have to choose TikTok or YouTube. I'm obviously gonna choose YouTube. Come on. It's insulting is what it is. It's insulting is what it is. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. Comment a tomato so we could all throw it at them. Throw it at redacted. Because I'm not even going to have the courtesy of giving their name. Or not the courtesy, but I'm not even going to say their name. Because I'm not even going to give them that small bit of publicity. No, they don't get nothing from me. I wouldn't do it for money. I wouldn't do it. I could be broke. I could be homeless. And you offer me this for $1 million and I won't do it. No. 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 As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.